He didn't collapse when the poison began to work. He didn't scream. He didn't even realize he was dying. The most terrifying part was the silence. The silence in his own body as his strength faded. The silence in a house filled with luxury, where betrayal whispered instead of shouted. And the silence forced on the one person who knew the truth. A black woman trained her entire life to stay invisible. When Ethan Cole stepped into his mansion that night, he believed he was coming home to love. Instead, he walked into a trap designed by blood, marriage, and power. Behind a closed closet door, as poison burned through his veins, he learned two brutal truths at once. The people closest to him wanted him dead, and the only person willing to save him was the one the world would never believe. Fear, rage, shame, and desperation collided in a single moment. And if you stay until the end of this story, you will witness a shocking truth exposed, one that will force everyone watching to question who they trust and who they silence. Ethan Cole never planned to come home early that night. The board meeting had been canceled at the last minute, and for once he thought fate was being kind. He imagined surprising his wife, opening a bottle of wine, pretending, just for a few hours, that his life wasn't ruled by schedules, lawyers, and power games. The iron gates of Colewood Estate closed behind his car with a familiar hum. Everything looked the same. Trimmed hedges, warm lights glowing through tall windows, the quiet luxury of a life most people only saw in magazines. Then the moment he stepped inside, something felt wrong. Before Ethan could call out, a hand clamped around his wrist. Strong, urgent, trembling. He turned and froze. It was Lena Washington, the housekeeper. She was a black woman in her late 40s, always calm, always invisible to guests, always spoken to slowly, as if intelligence could be measured by skin color and uniform. Ethan had seen her endure that quiet humiliation for years. He had noticed it, even if he had never truly stopped it. Her eyes, usually downcast, were wide with terror. "Don't speak," she whispered. "Not a sound." Before he could ask why, she dragged him into the coat closet and shut the door behind them. Darkness swallowed them whole. Ethan's heart pounded. He tried to ask what was happening, but Lena pressed her palm firmly over his mouth. Her hands shook, not with weakness, but with fear sharpened by certainty. "They're in the living room," she breathed. "Your wife and your brother." Ethan frowned. That alone wasn't alarming. Then Lena leaned closer, her voice barely audible. "They're talking about you, about finishing it." A cold wave rushed through his body. Lena slowly cracked the closet door open just enough for him to see. Through the narrow gap, Ethan saw Claire Cole, his wife, standing barefoot on the marble floor, champagne glass in hand. Beside her was Marcus Cole, his older brother. They were laughing, relaxed, comfortable, too comfortable. Ethan watched, confused, as Marcus raised his glass. "To patience," Marcus said. "Slow doses work best. Doctors don't ask questions when the body fails gradually." Claire smiled, not the smile she gave in public. This one was sharper. "Especially when the paperwork is ready," she replied. "Medical reports, blood work, all clean. Natural causes." Ethan's breath hitched. Poison. They were talking about poisoning him. Claire took a sip of champagne. "He's already been complaining about headaches, fatigue. No one will be surprised." Marcus chuckled, "And by the time he realizes what's happening, it'll be too late." Ethan felt the room tilt. Suddenly, everything made sense. The dizziness, the nausea he'd ignored for weeks, the way doctors had dismissed it as stress, the way Claire had insisted on preparing his drinks, his supplements. His knees weakened. Lena steadied him without making a sound. Her face hardened, not with shock, but with something deeper. Resolve. "I knew it," she whispered. "I just didn't know how soon." Ethan stared at her. "You knew," he mouthed silently. She nodded. "They started treating me different, watching me, asking questions they never cared to ask before. And then I heard Marcus say, 'If she talks, no one will believe her.'" Her jaw tightened. "Because I'm black, because I clean their messes." Outside the closet, laughter echoed again. Ethan felt a surge of rage and shame. He had benefited from a system that silenced people like Lena. And now that silence was exactly what his wife and brother were counting on. A faint ringing filled his ears, his vision blurred. The poison was working. Suddenly, Ethan's elbow brushed against a shelf. A small metal hook fell, clattering loudly onto the floor. The laughter stopped. Silence. Claire's voice cut through the air. "Did you hear that?" Footsteps moved closer. Lena inhaled sharply, then leaned toward Ethan. "Stay here," she whispered, "no matter what." Before he could react, she slipped out of the closet and quietly closed the door behind her. Ethan's pulse thundered as he listened. A loud crash erupted from the opposite side of the house, the unmistakable sound of heavy boxes falling. "What the hell was that?" Marcus snapped. Footsteps hurried away. Minutes stretched like hours. Ethan's chest burned. Sweat soaked his shirt. He fought to stay conscious. The closet door creaked open. Lena reappeared, her face pale but determined. "We have to go," she said. "Now." She guided him through the service hallway, avoiding cameras she knew by heart. They exited through a side door, bypassing his armored car. "No," she said firmly when he gestured toward it. "It's tracked. They'll find you." Instead, she led him through a narrow alley behind the estate, toward an old sedan parked beneath a broken streetlight. As she helped him into the passenger seat, Ethan looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time. This woman, ignored and underestimated her entire life, was the only reason he was still breathing. The engine started. As they drove away, Ethan felt the weight of everything crashing down on him. The betrayal, the poison in his veins, the realization that the person saving him was someone the world had trained him not to see. Lena kept her eyes on the road. "They'll blame me," she said quietly. "They always do." Ethan swallowed hard. This was no longer just about survival. It was about truth, about power, about whose voices are believed and whose are erased. And this time, silence was not an option. Before the story continues, this is the moment where everything changes, not just for Ethan, but for Lena and for everyone watching. So let me ask you, do you believe Lena would have been believed if Ethan hadn't been there? Yes or no? Your answers matter, because what comes next will test them all. The old sedan rattled as it crossed from the manicured streets of Pasadena into the dim, uneven roads of South Harbor. Streetlights flickered. The air changed. The world here didn't pretend to be safe. Ethan Cole slumped against the window, his skin clammy, his vision swimming. Every breath felt heavier than the last. The poison was still inside him, working patiently, exactly as Claire and Marcus had planned. Lena Washington drove with both hands tight on the steering wheel. She didn't look at him often, not because she didn't care, but because she knew how fast everything could fall apart if she lost focus for even a second. "We can't go to a hospital," she said quietly. Ethan tried to protest, but the words came out weak. "They own hospitals," she continued. "They own doctors, and if they don't own them, they scare them." She glanced at him then. "And if a black woman walks in saying she rescued a poisoned billionaire from his own house, they won't call me brave. They'll call me suspicious." The truth of it hit harder than the poison. Lena turned sharply into a narrow alley and stopped in front of a small, weathered house squeezed between two others. No gates, no cameras, no security. "This is my place," she said. "It's not much, but it's quiet, and no one looks twice at it." She helped Ethan out of the car. He could barely stand. Neighbors watched from porches and windows, curious, wary. A black woman half carrying a pale, wealthy man into her home did not fit anyone's expectations. Lena felt their eyes. She always did. Inside, the house smelled faintly of soap and old wood. She laid Ethan on a sagging couch and moved quickly, locking doors, closing curtains, turning off lights. She soaked towels in cold water and placed them on his forehead and neck, whispering steady words to keep him awake. "You're not dying tonight," she said. "Not on my watch." Hours passed like that, his body shaking, her hands steady. At one point, Ethan grabbed her wrist. "I'm sorry," he murmured, half-conscious, "for not seeing you sooner." Lena didn't answer. She just adjusted the towel. Outside, the world was already turning against them. By morning, the news broke. Ethan Cole was missing. Claire Cole stood before cameras, eyes red, voice trembling. She spoke of betrayal, of fraud, of a husband who had changed. She hinted at an affair, at theft, at a housekeeper who had manipulated him. The name Lena Washington flashed across the screen. Ethan watched in disbelief from the couch as his own face appeared beside hers, labeled suspected accomplice. The anchors didn't question it. The comments scrolling beneath the video were worse. She probably planned it. Why would he trust a maid? Of course she's involved. Look at her. Lena turned off the TV with shaking hands. She sat on the floor, her back against the couch, staring at nothing. "They're doing what they always do," she said, "turning me into the story." Ethan felt a different kind of sickness now, one that had nothing to do with poison. "They're destroying you," he said. She laughed bitterly. "They're using me. There's a difference. People already expect this from someone like me." Later that day, a knock came at the door. Lena's heart nearly stopped. She motioned for Ethan to stay back and opened the door a crack. It was a neighbor, eyes curious, smile tight. "I saw you on the news," the woman said. "Everything okay in there?" Lena forced a calm expression. "Just a sick relative." The woman lingered, eyes scanning the interior. "You should be careful," she said. "People are talking." When the door finally closed, Lena locked it and leaned against it, breathing hard. "They don't need proof," she whispered. "Just a story that fits." That night, Ethan grew stronger, strong enough to think. "There's evidence," he said suddenly. "I kept backups, documents, recordings." Lena looked at him. "Where?" "In my office, in the safe." They stared at each other. The mansion, the place where everything began. "They're throwing a charity gala tomorrow night," Lena said slowly. "Claire never misses a chance to perform." Ethan understood immediately. "If we go in during the event, they won't see us," she finished. "They never see the help." They planned in whispers. Lena knew the house better than anyone, where cameras didn't reach, which doors were ignored, how staff moved when guests filled the halls. That night, she put on her old uniform. When Lena slipped into the mansion through a broken basement window, no one stopped her. No one questioned her presence. She walked past wealth and laughter with her eyes down, just another black woman in a uniform doing what was expected of her. In the office, she opened the safe. Inside were files, medical reports altered to hide poison, a small vial of clear liquid, and a recording device. Then voices outside. Claire and Marcus entered, laughing, relaxed. Lena hid beneath the desk and pressed record. They spoke freely, about the poison, about the lies, about how easily the world believed them. Marcus laughed. "No one's looking for him, and if they are, they're looking at her." Claire smirked. "Exactly." Every word was captured. When they left, Lena waited, heart pounding, then slipped out the way she came, barely avoiding being seen by another housekeeper who nearly screamed. She ran. When she reached the car, Ethan was waiting. She handed him the proof. For the first time since the night he was poisoned, Ethan smiled. "This ends tomorrow," he said. Lena nodded. "For both of us." Because this was no longer just about clearing his name. It was about breaking a pattern older than either of them. The night of the Cole Foundation Charity Gala arrived dressed in crystal lights and polished smiles. Limousines lined the street outside Colewood Estate. Cameras flashed. Guests in tailored suits and designer gowns stepped onto the red carpet, laughing easily, unaware that the house they admired had nearly become a crime scene. Ethan Cole sat in the driver's seat of the old sedan, hands steady on the wheel. He no longer looked like a man running for his life. He looked like someone who had made a decision. Beside him, Lena Washington adjusted the simple black dress she had changed into. It wasn't expensive, but it fit her well. For the first time in years, she wasn't wearing a uniform meant to erase her presence. "You ready?" Ethan asked. Lena inhaled slowly. "I've been ready my whole life," she said. They walked toward the mansion together. At first, no one recognized them. Security barely glanced at Lena. She moved the way she always had, confident, quiet, invisible when people wanted her to be. Ethan blended in as well, another wealthy guest returning late. Inside, the music swelled. Laughter filled the air. Claire Cole stood near the stage, elegant and composed, accepting praise for her strength during such a tragic time. Marcus hovered close, nodding solemnly, playing his role perfectly. They did not see Ethan until he spoke. "Marcus." The word cut through the noise like glass. Heads turned. Conversations died mid-sentence. The string quartet faltered. Claire froze. Marcus's face drained of color. Ethan stepped forward, calm, undeniable, very much alive. In one hand, he held a phone. In the other, a small glass vial that caught the light. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "That's impossible," someone whispered. Claire recovered first. She rushed toward him, eyes wide with fake relief. "Ethan," she gasped, "you're alive, thank God." He didn't touch her. "I was poisoned," he said clearly, "by the two people standing in front of you." The room erupted in shocked gasps. Claire shook her head, tears instantly forming. "He's confused. He's been under stress." Ethan raised the phone. The recording played. Marcus's voice echoed through the room, casual and cruel. Claire's laughter followed. Their words, every detail of the poison, the forged medical reports, the plan to blame Lena, filled the space. No one spoke. The truth didn't shout. It didn't need to. Claire tried to step back. A guest blocked her path. Security hesitated, unsure who to listen to now. Ethan continued, his voice steady. "This vial is the poison. Those documents are the falsified medical records. And the woman you all saw accused on television," he turned, "is the woman who saved my life." All eyes shifted to Lena. Some looked surprised, some ashamed, some uncomfortable. Lena felt the weight of every stare. For years she had been looked through. Tonight she was finally being seen. "She was called a criminal," Ethan went on, "because it was easier to believe a black woman was guilty than to imagine the truth." Silence pressed down like a held breath. Police arrived within minutes, this time not the ones Claire and Marcus controlled. Lawyers followed. Phones were already recording. The story was spreading faster than anyone could stop it. Marcus tried to speak. No one listened. Claire collapsed into a chair, her performance finally over. As officers led them away, Lena felt something inside her loosen, a knot she had carried for decades. The crowd slowly began to move again, but the mood had changed. Conversations were quieter. Eyes followed Lena differently now. Not with suspicion, with respect. Later, outside the mansion, under a sky finally free of lies, Ethan turned to her. "I owe you my life," he said. "But more than that, I owe you the truth." The next morning, the headlines changed. Not quietly, not gently. The story of Ethan Cole's survival was everywhere, but so was Lena's. Not as a suspect, as a hero, she was invited to speak, to tell her side. This time people listened. This time they asked questions instead of making assumptions. Ethan stepped down as CEO for a time and handed full control to an independent board. He created a foundation in Lena's name, focused not on charity for show, but on justice, accountability, and protecting those who were never meant to have power. Lena didn't move back into the shadows. She didn't disappear. She chose what came next. Months later, she stood in front of a small group of young women of color, speaking without fear, without apology. "They taught us to stay quiet," she said. "They told us no one would believe us. They were wrong." Ethan watched from the back of the room, knowing this was the part of the story that mattered most. Not the downfall, the dignity. Because justice wasn't just about punishment, it was about changing who gets heard. Before we end this story, let me ask you, how did this story make you feel? Do you think Lena's story reflects what still happens in real life? If this story moved you, comment 111 below, so I know you stayed until the end. Tell me, which country are you watching from? And if you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, please share this video so others can hear it too.